Don't wait till the night before Christmas to be good.
And in 3, 2, 1, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 12 of the 8th annual 12 podcast of Christmas. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Francois Nation.
I'm Andrew Sorsdahl.
And I'm Helen DeGeneres, Ellen's older sister.
Helen DeGeneres?
Ellen and Helen. You don't know the DeGeneres sisters?
Does Ellen have a brother? She does have siblings, doesn't she? Like in life?
I know nothing about.
Fuck. I've never seen Ellen. I don't know Ellen. I don't know. Andrew, with a little bit of non-self imposed retribution today on the podcast. Non-self.
Well, first of all,
He didn't bring
I
it upon himself.
demand an apology and a retraction of your
No,
statement as me as a liar.
this was not found where you said it was found. You are a fucking liar.
Where did we
It
get
doesn't
this?
make you not a liar. I don't know. You found it. We were hammered.
Where were we?
Co-op liquor. I guarantee it was co-op liquor.
What
That's
night?
the one place I didn't check.
So we went and got hammered at
Thirsty
Scholar.
They must have gone across the street to the co-op liquor.
How'd we get home?
Uber.
I don't remember.
How do you know all this?
It doesn't take rocket appliances to.
Oh,
to
you're
piece
just
in the
speculating wildly.
Not wildly. It's
Andrew, what do you
It's the
got
same
for us
thing.
here today that actually Fran got for us?
Sweet Sippin' maple whiskey.
Fran,
is a
would you mind grabbing
Canadian,
the old
a true
bottle?
Canadian spirit. To our best Canadian whiskey, we add our country's finest maple syrup. And that's it. No additives, no preservatives. Enjoy responsibly on a cold winter's night.
So as you
or
can
when
see,
have-
we
when
have the
having a
original
good time
bottle.
hanging out with your pack.
We have the original bottle, which is on your left, and we have the new bottle. And this is to show that we didn't just say that we got it and
New
then.
bottle, old bottle. New bottle, old bottle.
So you still can find it. We did find it.
Bottle's the same, label's different.
Correct.
Yeah, the bottles look identical.
Literally just a new label.
And it's from Highwood Distillers in Alberta. Welcome. If you guys do want to sponsor the podcast, feel free. We finally
We would
found-
love it.
We finally found a thing you can drink with it.
It's good.
So Andrew and I.
No, it's not. We haven't tried it yet. Oh, maybe it's gross.
No, we did try it, and it's confirmed good.
Okay.
So in this jug before you is a mixture of pineapple juice, lemon juice, homemade simple syrup.
And of course, the main ingredient
Sweet
from our potential sponsor,
Sweet
Sweet
Sippin'
Sippin' Canadian Maple Whiskey. I guess the sponsor would be. Could a specific
Highwood
spirit
Distillers.
line?
No, I don't imagine they would be Highwood.
They would want Highwood Distillers, yeah. So from our sponsor,
Okay,
Highwood
so we
Distillers.
fill. No, it's more than that. It's actually not that much club soda, and then you add club soda after, so it doesn't go flat in this massive jug that I've got here.
Yeah.
So there is the whole 2 6s in here. And we're
2
gonna,
6 is
2.6 is in there.
1 2 6.
The whole 2
1 2
6s
6
in there.
is.
The whole 2 6s
Fill
in
this
there.
up.
I see.
A little bit of this.
Yeah, just a good splash. I mean, you could probably fill it up. I'll fill these to the top of that line. This is a maple whiskey Tom Collins. Like I said, simple syrup, lemon juice, pineapple juice, maple whiskey.
Oh,
I didn't have quite enough simple syrup because I didn't make enough, but it actually is sweet enough anyway without it.
Well, the pineapple juice adds a lot of sweetness for sure.
And then somehow Andrew was actually able to find, believe it or not, low sodium club soda.
I didn't even look. I just grabbed it.
there's salt and water.
That's water salt. It's desalinated water they use.
Why would you?
Well, because everyone
Like,
knows
isn't
club
club
soda's
soda-
from the sea, right?
Like, it's just carbonated water, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know.
How
Anyway,
much salt is in your average
I mean,
bottled water?
this has less of it though.
yeah, it's a sweet
I
dude.
would hope so from the advertising.
I'm just saying.
But
Like,
it's
it's like back when gluten free
Oh,
was
hold
becoming.
We've also each got an umbrella
Oh.
and a stir stick.
I gave him a stir stick. I didn't see the umbrellas.
Yowza, can you get normal club soda, or is it all low sodium?
I don't know. I assume.
Or else why would you differentiate?
Well, it's like.
Well, like you saying.
I was thinking when gluten-free was a thing, they were putting gluten-free on
Oh,
water.
and stuff that was obviously gluten-free.
Like on bottled water.
Never had gluten.
Yeah.
Right.
And couldn't have gluten no matter, or unless you added it to it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
It's
have.
not in the original recipe.
Yes, exactly.
So we're all going to try this. We have not tried it in this. My ratios are a little off for what we tried this morning because we always drink alcohol in the morning. We always drink alcohol in the morning.
Morning still?
I know it's not now, but this
No,
morning is when
these-
we drank it.
These guys do.
What?
Drink alcohol in the morning.
Yeah, we all drink alcohol in the morning.
I don't know what you're talking about. I was not here.
I was.
Yeah, you always drink of alcohol.
That reminds me of some advice I've never had the fortune to use that I got from mother of one of my dear friends from high school, and she said to us, "If you ever get pulled over by the cops and you're drunk, and they say, 'Have you had something to drink?' You say, 'I don't drink,' and you say it with that tone. And they say, 'Have you had anything to drink?' You say, 'I don't drink.'"
Like, not that you haven't been drinking.
No, I don't drink
Yeah.
at all. And then it's like that, and that's the end of it there, and they'll let you go. And it's like, great. I bet that would work.
Seems like sound advice.
So, for our viewer out
An
there,
adult to give a teen.
I don't drink.
for our viewers out there, the next time, and you will get pulled over drinking and driving, tell the officer that you don't drink.
No matter how fucking drunk you are,
Yeah.
how much you're swerving, you don't cede the point. Because the second you cede the point, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's not that you have you been drinking this evening. That's not what a
Have you had one to drink?
I've never
It's
had
it's a ludicrous question because you know why, Randy? Because I don't fucking drink anymore.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
Yeah, maybe you throw that in. Maybe you say, "What a ridiculous question."
That's-
What a ridiculous question,
Are you,
officer.
You're wasting my time. This is a waste of my
I
time.
have somewhere to be. Obviously, I'm driving.
Very fast. and avoiding these potholes and gophers on the road in the dead of winter.
In the city.
What do we think of this?
I quite like it. I would legitimately drink this. Like, I don't know if I would drink a whole, like, multiple of them in a row, but like as a cocktail to have like with dinner or something. Yeah, great.
It's interesting because I really like a Tom Collins.
I'm a Tom Collins fan as well. Yeah,
This actually might not be as sweet.
it's a little bit doesn't have that same like, yeah.
Fran, what do you think?
This, I think, is going to be gut rot in a glass.
You didn't put your umbrella in.
Oh, sorry. This tastes to me. You said there's simple syrup in this?
Yeah.
Not much though.
So, like, there's a bit of sugar in there.
Yeah.
There's sugar from the pineapple. There's sugar from the Canadian maple whiskey and hard liquor.
And there's a bit of sugar and lemon juice also, believe it or not.
This is going to hurt my tummy like something fierce. Tastes good. But, I mean, like, I'm trying to think of other orange drinks. Like, the thing is, like, what's interesting, like, you have, like, a screwdriver, right? And it's, like, quite a nice, it's just a color of orange juice, so it's quite a nice color. But there's this
Like that
thing that
brownie.
booze that's mixed with darker boozes, they get to this shade of
Brown.
that's like that looks. What's the orange
Well, it's 'cause
swamp water? It's
Yeah,
like
it's
swamp
like
water. It's like
murky,
that is going to hurt my tummy. I can feel it.
It's because they're really meant to be poured. This is meant to be like not mixed like this. It's meant to be mixed like in a tall glass with lots and lots of like ice in it.
Shaken, so it's like
And shit.
foggy. and-
Exactly. So it's more like a.
But what I will say
cocktail
is that I really struggled with the idea of what the fuck to put maple with.
This is
Spit
it.
everywhere. And I think this is surely not that bad.
And I mean, we're also it's only 22% alcohol, so it's not like we're drinking a 40% cocktail.
Yeah, it's
here.
true. It's not a 2.6 of 40% alcohol. It's
If you mimosa'd this like half champagne, half this concoction, that to me would be quite nice because that would really dilute the color.
You could add more club soda if you want next time.
No. Well, I mean, this is whatever. I'm just saying, like, if I was to like make this a staple of my alcoholic diet, which is impossible because I don't drink, officer.
Yeah, if you
We
were to
don't.
drink.
We don't drink.
We don't
We
fucking
don't.
drink.
We don't fucking drink.
That was the wrong camera. Say it again.
We don't fucking drink.
There we go. Excuse me, sir, have you had anything to drink tonight?
We don't drink.
Excuse me, sir, have you had anything to drink
We don't
tonight?
fucking drink. I'm red the face.
Excuse me, sir, have you had anything to drink tonight? I don't fucking drink. So fuck off, copper.
I've never gotten a DUI.
I have fucking killed cops before. So ask me that question.
I have never
about
got.
that?
I've never
Ask
gotten a
me.
DUI.
Yeah, you say that. I don't fucking drink. How about you ask me how many cops I've killed? Ask me that.
Ask me how many. Ask me how many dozens of police officers that I've killed.
Ask me if I've killed more than 3 dozen police officers.
Why are you looking scared?
Get the fuck out of
Get
here.
out of here, you
Got
motherfucker.
anywhere to be? Got a fucking kid at home or something?
Hey,
Go take your
What
kid.
is it? What does the cow say?
fuck off.
Moo. What does the chicken say?
Fuck off.
What does the pig say?
Oh, you didn't tell
Stop
me.
resisting.
Oh, I see. What is the chicken actually supposed to say?
I don't know. Cock-a-doodle-doo.
It's a rooster.
Yeah, it's a rooster. What does the chicken
Rooster,
say?
whatever.
Okay, re-ask the question.
What does a rooster say?
No, the whole thing from the beginning.
What does a cow say?
Fuck off.
What does a rooster
No,
say?
you are supposed to correct me because obviously that's not correct. Go ahead, again. Again.
What does a cow say?
Fuck off.
No, it says moo. What does the rooster say?
Fuck off.
No, it's cock-a-doodle-doo.
Say the end part.
What does a pig say?
Fuck off.
No, he says stop resisting.
Now drink your drink I made for you. Don't worry about why it's fizzier than ours. Today on the podcast, we're going to be discussing a few different releases in multimedia. First and foremost, we're not going to get too deep into this because sometimes people get really upset when we talk about video games for an hour.
Sweet.
We're going to do a really, really brief, how was Halo Infinite?
For those people, just before we go into this, I will say, just as a segue, fantasy, any sport, is just Dungeons and Dragons for people who suck at fantasy and suck at whatever that sport
Here's
is.
the thing. Usually criticizing the audience doesn't make them more engagement.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so what does the Andrew say? Fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you guys the floor. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to summarize your experience with Halo Infinite, starting with Francois in 3, 2, 1.
I guess like if I was to briefly say it, I'd say it's a return to form for the Halo franchise. It feels like the Halo 4 everybody wanted but never got. I really enjoyed Halo 4's story. I think it was the best told story in the Halo franchise up until this point. But the gameplay was quite not good. Like it's probably the roughest to go back and play because there's so little variety. And then Halo 5 to me was just a failure of story. It was just like you couldn't really get it. There's nothing to hold on to. It was just you didn't care about anything. The gameplay was pretty strong in Halo 5, but that was its saving grace. So it was kind of a reversal from Halo 4. And then Halo Infinite felt like it's one of those things. Like you remember when they were trying to make the Sonic movie, and they released the first trailer and it had that awful, terrifying Sonic, and then they were like, "We're pushing it back here, and we're gonna redo all the CGI because like if nobody likes it, what the fuck's the point?"
Well, because there was a massive outcry.
Yeah, so it felt like, but that was like this instance of like, wow, a production company is like actually listening to the fans, and like they're like, yeah, okay, this wasn't good enough, we're gonna try again. And it felt like 343 really fucking buckled down, even though it might have hurt that they had to like. It was like they did 2 games where they established this new art style and this new direction, and
no
then
one
it was
liked
like,
it.
you know what, fuck it, what is Halo if not a fan-owned experience now?
20 seconds.
And they kind of they realize that it's like Halo is what it is because of its fans. It's not like any other fucking niche thing. It's like we love it because of, and there's these specific reasons we love it. And then they double down on those reasons that we love it. So I think it was excellent. I think if you like Halo, you should play it. I think if you like really fun video games, you should play it. It's fucking fun as shit.
Especially if you're into first-person shooters.
I have my criticisms. Like I don't know if I'd go so far as to call it the best Halo game. But I think it stands alongside Halo 1, 2, and 3 easily. Like it stands there, head held high. It's a return to form.
Andrew, 3?
Yeah. I guess I would say it's a refreshing change from the constant modern warfare, which I got really sick of, like the what's it called, the battle royale. Fun, but I got sick of that really quickly. The Warzone or whatever, and getting back to Halo multiplayer is so nice. I love it. It's certainly there's lots that they could add to it, and they are, like, they're slowly adding multiplayer elements to the game, so that's something to watch out for. I think they've obviously established, like Fran said, they're doing a lot of fan service with this, with the multiplayer as well, which is something that, like, Halo multiplayer is the first person shooter that I really got into. So having a multiplayer for this game that kind of, like you said, there's 2 games that kind of sucked more or less, especially multiplayer wise. Having it come back around and be something on par with, like, Halo 2, Halo 3 multiplayer is really refreshing. I'm excited to see what the campaign is like with co-op added, like going through those missions on Legendary with a group of people. I think would add a lot of replayability and add a lot of just
40 seconds.
Just fun into that experience. I agree. Everything you said about the campaign, I totally agree. I guess one of the shining things I can specifically say across the board is the voice acting is awesome, and they've really implemented and taken, again, all these things we loved about the original games that everyone is, constantly references, and just done more of that stuff that we love. Yeah, again, specifically the voice acting, the enemies, their taunts, and when you die, and the grunts are amazing. They have so many good quips, and yeah, it was just a great experience all around.
Dumbledore dies. Vader's Luke's father. Saruman is on Sauron's team right from pretty much the get-go.
John McClane's a good guy.
John McClane's a good guy. So with that out of the way, what did I like about Halo Infinite? I like what both you guys said. To add to that, for me, after completing the campaign, it is the most rewarding campaign experience in a first-person shooter I think I've ever had. The sandbox style of the game allows you to achieve your goals in whatever way you see fit, which makes it feel more like your campaign and not just like enter a room, kill everybody with the obvious weapons that are laid out for you, move into the next room, do the same.
Yeah, super linear.
Again and again and again. All the fast movement and climbing and pole vaulting and grappling, and it was just like, it was so fluid. Like, when I died, it was never like, fuck, this game fucked me over. It was like, okay, I got to change my strategy, because the game does not inhibit your ability to achieve in any way, shape, or form. And it is probably the only Halo experience in which I could see that if you got really, really good at it, you could make Legendary your bitch, whereas the other ones were more like, get into a room, kill everybody from a distance, and hide and hide and hide. Whereas this, like
throw grenades exactly, precisely.
Yeah,
and
this felt like it felt like I was Master Chief, and I could fucking do anything. It's like, it doesn't matter how many guys you throw at me. If you keep letting me respawn, I will eventually beat them all. I will kill everybody on the fucking map if I have to. So I think for me, that was what it created such a rewarding campaign experience, unlike anything else. And I'm a Halo 2 fanatic, but this was better.
Well, it's for the time, right? Like Halo 2 at the time.
It's incredible how well that stands up.
Yeah.
We played it somewhat recently.
Yeah.
But no, that's what I have to say. We also went and saw something that might interest people a little bit more, Marvel's latest release. Andrew, why don't you give us a little bit of a rundown on what that is?
Yeah, the newest Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. As always for these Marvel movies going in, I have such a high expectation now, because they've set the bar for themselves quite high, and
so incredibly high.
Yeah, without going into any details of the story or, I guess to give a quick summary without obviously giving anything away. This is the third entry into the new Spider-Man franchise, starring Tom Holland. A bunch of other stars. Don't want to give that away because there's some surprises there. And essentially, in this one, Peter's trying to figure out his future with his friends. And after his anonymity is taken away in the second movie, we see the aftermath of that. So everyone knows who Spider-Man is, knows his secret identity, and he's trying to cope with that. And in trying to cope with that, he ends up kind of almost breaking the universe and creating a situation where there's a multiverse similar to that of the animated Spider-Man movie, Enter the Spider-Verse, which is also amazing.
It's called Enter the Spider-Verse?
I don't know if it's Enter. It's
Fran? Into the Spider-Verse.
It's Into the Spider-Verse.
That sounds right.
Yeah. So it kind of took that concept that was, quite wacky and suited an animated movie and kind of didn't redo that concept, but they just kind of took a similar thing and brought it into a live action Marvel format. And yeah, now that I've set that up, I don't know. I loved it. It's honestly one of my favorite Marvel movies to date. I think it would probably make top 5 Marvel movies for me. Like I really enjoyed it. Especially just in context with the other Spider-Man movies. It really kind of felt, to me, the Spider-Man franchise so far, the new one, is so strong. Like both the other movies were great. So again, this had such high expectations going in, and to me, it lived up to them big time.
Fran?
Yeah, I think it's cool. It's wild that we live in an age where we get to see movies like this, because it's just so. The movie is balls to the wall, wild. It's like you think about I remember seeing the first Avengers movie in 2012 and just being like gobsmacked with being like, I can't believe there's Captain America and Thor and Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk and Hawk, and it's like they have all Black Widow. They have all these fucking IPs on the screen at the same time. This is fucking crazy. This is the pinnacle of this is a one-time deal. This isn't gonna happen again. And then just due to the fucking success and just how much people were clamoring for such things, and just like the perfect environment.
Yeah, can't. Stop throwing on the ground. As you were saying.
Like the perfect environment. It's like we started getting all these like really cool, crazy movies and team up movies, and then it's like it culminated with Infinity War and Endgame, and that to me once again it was just like, this is fucking insane. We're seeing one of the most complex stories ever put to a graphic novel with all these characters, the Infinity Gauntlet saga, and they're doing it on screen. That's fucking nuts. And they didn't fuck it up too. No, it's all been great so far. So to me though, I don't think it's Marvel burnout so much, but like we got to Endgame and it felt like such a culmination of everything that to a degree I was like, I don't know where this is going to go anymore. Like I don't know how strong this can stay, because it's like once you're Captain America and you're Iron Man, you're Thor and you're Hulk, and like all these IPs have kind of been exhausted to an extent, and it's like we've got 4 of these movies and 4 of these movies and 4 of these movies and 4 of these movies, and it's like now they're trying to introduce these new heroes that I feel like so far have not been as strong in my opinion. Like Shang-Chi, I was just not that big a fan. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it reminded me kind of like Captain Marvel, where it was like I was just like, I don't. Had it elevated it and it like just been this movie, I would have been like, this is incredible. But Shang-Chi just didn't do it for me. And then I didn't see Eternals, but I kind of heard that same sentiment about Eternals. And I'm trying to think. I enjoyed the Black Widow movie, but it was weird because you knew she was dead, and it was a pre-movie, so it was like it also felt like it was stuck in the previous gen, not the new gen. And so you have Spider-Man, who's already, this is his 6th fucking MCU movie, which is wild to think about. And yeah, it was really cool to go see an MCU movie, a new one, that I was like, man, this is really living up to that standard set by Infinity War and the Avengers and Endgame, and like did really cool stuff. And
because
so,
I feel like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange are strong enough. Like Benedict Cumberbatch is amazing.
Yeah,
I personally like Doctor Strange is like in the movies anyways is like one of my favorite characters. The portrayal in the MCU currently is I love it.
Also, like it kind of like, this isn't a major plot point that matters at all, but he's not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore, and I was like kind of like
That was really funny.
It was very funny. Yeah.
The MCU is really good at subverting expectations in funny, cute ways, and so the way they did it, I was like, that's just fucking Marvel all the way around. So funny.
The comedy there, yeah.
But yeah, I agree. Like Doctor Strange, that's still a AAA hero. Thor still has a fourth movie coming out. It's like they still have some of these AAA heroes, but it's like it does feel like we're seeing a thinning of the herd now.
Yeah.
And I'm eager to see. What's cool is like they can fucking bring it back. So there could be this whole renaissance. You have the Fantastic Four, you have the X-Men, you have Daredevil. You can bring it back with all these fucking sick heroes.
Deadpool's, has done that.
And even Deadpool to an extent to me.
Can he ever be in a mainstream MCU movie?
Yeah, they have to adjust him or whatever. But like, I'm eager to see what the third Deadpool movie looks like. I'm also.
Is it is it happening? Obviously.
Yeah, they confirmed that he's part of the House of Mouse. He did a funny video about it. But like even with Deadpool, it's like I thought the first Deadpool film was excellent and like a really good translation of that character on the screen. But then the second one, it was weird because it didn't feel fresh. There was something about it that I'm like, I don't know if I just want to see this again and again and again. I want to see a new thing. And so like the Spider-Man movies, the third one was this new fucking thing. I got to see Spider-Man do something new and something cool and crazy, and that was really awesome. But yeah, it's weird. I'm not as excited as I was in that initial pre-Endgame phase where it was like every Marvel movie
because it doesn't feel like it's building to anything anymore.
Not in the same way. I mean,
yeah, and it feels like these are like little firecrackers coming off of an explosion that happened.
That's the thing is like but the thing what I'm saying is like it's such early days in this new era of Marvel that there is this kind of fear in me where it's like, is that gone now? Like, are we never going to recapture that glory, which is too bad? Or do they have this opportunity to use the Fantastic Four and use the X-Men and use Daredevil and use those properties that people love and are great AAA characters and do something like bring Galactus in, this other, like, to me, it's like Thanos is wild because like that is a character that unless you read comic books, you knew fucking nothing about back in the day. Like when people saw him in 2012, they were like, we have no idea who this character is. And it's like you'd have to read the Infinity Gauntlet and that stuff to know who Thanos was. But you still have these threats like Galactus that people are more familiar with on like a...
Is he the one that Doctor Strange kept putting in the loop?
No, that's Dormammu. That's also like a
deep cut.
Yeah, you'd have to be... It's like, if you were familiar with Doctor Strange, it'd be like, oh, good for you. But then you have to be familiar with Doctor Strange's like rogue gallery, which is like whatever. But no, Galactus is like the Fantastic Four threat, big purple helmet, eater of worlds, like the Unicron of the Marvel universe. And he's the thing that the villain that I've wanted to see. But him and Annihilus are the two villains that I want to see put to screen the most because they're so fucking sweet. So I
does he make Thanos look like a bitch?
Galactus? It depends. You have to adjust him, and it's weird. Like they in that Loki series, they made Thanos like really inconsequential, like with some lines in that. They really like hand waved him away. So if you want to see like Thanos be treated like a nothing, watch Loki because like there's
like the TV show.
Yeah. Like I think it's like 4 or 5 episodes or whatever. But in that they're like. It feels like they're setting up for the fact that it's like, oh, you thought Thanos was bad, like that's nothing. It's weird to me because we're getting into this realm of metaphysics that's so difficult to follow with like multiverses and these gauntlet can snap out all of reality and it can do anything.
My thing is like also from a viewer standpoint, the fucking TV shows, it's like now if I really need to stay on top, like the TV shows are like the comic books. They're like supplementary almost to the main MCU films. It's like, oh, you didn't watch the TV series on Disney Plus? Like, you didn't know that they said that stuff?
Yeah, I really do have to. It's one of those things I've been meaning to do, but I just haven't actually. I've had other shows that have taken priority, but I'm hoping over Christmas I can really catch up and watch all the shows and see
where everything's at.
There.
What's nice about them is they're short. Like the episodes are like your classic 45-minute to an hour, but it's like they're usually 5, 6, 7 episodes.
Yeah, it's not like a 10-episode season. It's like in that
and it's
manageable realm.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
like an extended movie.
Yeah, they're quite nice in that way, and it's cool. It's cool to see shows that have the budget and the look of movies, and not like I thought Stranger Things. I'm like, oh, this is a movie, but it's like now it's like we're at another level where it's like this is like big budget, big CGI, big.
Speaking of big budget, big CGI TV, to kind of get us off the Marvel train a little bit. Have you seen the trailer for the new Game of Thrones thing that they announced, or maybe they were
the show?
Yeah,
like the one with
House of the Dragon or whatever.
Like the first trailer?
Yeah,
I did see that.
I think I'm not sure if it was the
When
first
does the
one.
Lord of the Rings TV show come out?
2022
Next year, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, is it gonna be like Game of Thrones, like many episodes and many seasons? And
I think
That's
like
they're
for what I
trying
heard,
to do.
Amazon said they signed up for 5 seasons already or something like that. Like
It's
like they
that's what-
had season 1 going and then they immediately like yeah, we're doing season 2, season 3, season 4, season 5.
They're
and I
hoping
think it's the
for
most
that.
expensive television show ever produced.
is Peter Jackson part of it?
No, I don't think so. Maybe he'll get an executive producer credit, but as far as I know, he's not. He has no creative input or whatever. But I think it's still set in his version
yeah.
of the Lord of the Rings.
That's my
I
understanding.
mean, it's not really. It doesn't make any sense to not set it. We're just like, don't fuck with the formula, motherfucker, kind of thing. Yeah, give me a little cam time here. I think it's a great idea to make Lord of the Rings into a television series
It's weird they're calling it the Lord of the Rings.
because that's the series is already done.
Well, because
Well,
the
no,
name
'cause it's set
before
pre-
the Lord of the
Second
Rings.
Age, and it's kind of
Well-
before the War of the Ring even started.
I think you have to do that so that the
Are they
average
gonna have, like,
person
lots of-
knows that it's
Are they gonna have like lots of like horse-drawn carts with lots of hay, like carrying dead bodies over like rough terrain?
Oh, you're saying that it's going to be like Lord of the Rings, but more middle-aged, like
Yeah.
more Dark Ages? No, as far as I know, it's like the farther back you get
The
in
better
the
things
Middle
get.
Earth, it's like more enlightened. It's like things are
Technologically
better and the structures are better. And like the societies are all more at peace.
yeah.
Like
The War of the Ring would be like closer to the Dark Ages kind of thing.
yeah,
Because that's like when
But I'm
things
just
came
thinking,
to
like,
their
you know,
peak.
like
that's when magic left the world.
Like a cart, like this,
Yeah.
and then
Bring
like,
out your dead.
yeah,
cart, kind of
Yeah.
like like one of those carts.
yeah, like one of. Brand, you need a top up there.
No.
Okay.
Okay, got some club soda.
Oh yeah, sorry there, bud.
Sorry.
But
go
yeah,
ahead.
I think the new Spider-Man movie was good, and I think people should see it if they like MCU movies. I think if I honestly like fuck the MCU. If you're a longtime Spider-Man fan, like
This is it.
like you,
This is the
like let's
movie.
say you watched the '90s cartoon, you watched them throughout the beginning of the millennium and throughout all that stuff.
Wasn't there like a Tobey Maguire series or something of films?
Yeah, the first one.
Right.
First
believe.
couples, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it feels like a celebration of kind of like how we talked about with James Bond, how the new James Bond felt like a celebration of Bond to an extent. This movie feels like a celebration of Spider-Man.
Fran,
throughout
they
the
would have
years.
had to watch the other episodes of the podcast to know that we talked about that.
We talked about Bond. See the new Bond movie. See the new Spider-Man movie. They're good movies.
I would definitely say like one thing I loved about this Spider-Man was just the character development that we got to see in this one. Like, not that it wasn't there in the other two, but this one was very much like the Peter growing up one.
Yeah.
And usually we see that in such a short sequence in the other Spider-Man properties. But in this one, it's because that was kind of a big focus in the movie. We got to see
Well, we
this.
finally got to see Spider-Man being a kid instead
Yeah,
of like, oh, yeah,
exactly.
he's a kid. Okay, move on. Now it's time to be an adult. Fuck off. Everyone's dying around you.
No. As in the previous two generations, like I'm a 30-year-old man who's in grade 10, and that's weird. And Tobey Maguire even says it in the film. He says, "I'm 30 and I'm in a class with all you guys, and a lot of you are 25 to 45, and that's also weird."
Shouldn't
We're
be
just
like
gonna
this.
keep go. I'm gonna keep doing the thing in the class.
It was
and we're
like
gonna
it
keep
was
doing
like
school.
One Tree Hill, the movie,
Yes,
where
big time.
all the grade 10 girls had large full breasts like they were 25.
And the men had thick 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah,
Like, they were
yeah.
desperately like between takes, getting to shave.
Speaking about retconning old material, things like that, kind of a renaissance of our own. A few people out there watching not only this series of podcasts, but going back and enjoying a few of the older ones.
Some people messaging us specific parts they want to debate about again. To those people, that was several years ago. We're different people now. Those opinions have probably changed quite a bit over the years.
I know it
Yeah.
seems like a little time capsule.
And it kind of is in that it was true at the time, or that's
So
how
you can't.
That's what it is a time
Yeah,
capsule.
it's like a time capsule in that you can't yell at 2013 Brad. Like you can't yell at him anymore because he's long.
he doesn't exist. Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah,
We killed him.
he's dead. And I mean, there's a lot of that. A lot of that talk of because our cells regenerate every 3 years or something, that we're entirely different. people
7 years.
Every 7 years. So I literally don't have any cellular component remaining in me that was of me in that time period. Completely different person. We don't want to get canceled, so don't bring up too many of the older episodes. We're a little tamer now.
Well, again, it's something that we take. I mean,
Andrew, what were people taking offense to if it's not too categorically destructive of our careers and personal lives?
the big one was there seems to be a former producer, I think, at this point of the podcast,
Right.
Kevin, one of the Kevins, seemed to take issue with opinions that we espoused about pet ownership and pets and what pets were had value and which didn't. That opinion has not changed, at least as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it's changed as far as you're concerned. I don't know about Fran. I don't know, but yes, we I believe the big thing was hermit crabs are awful. They serve no purpose except to stink up your entire house. So if you really enjoy a stinky house that smells like fishy piss, hermit crabs are the pet for you. They also don't care about your existence, don't acknowledge you. They're essentially
A leech.
Walking rocks.
like literally a house plant gives more of a fuck about your existence than a hermit crab does.
Okay.
Other than living or dying, I guess.
Now, completely unrelated to your personal experience with hermit crabs, purely from a scientific, hypothetical level, purely inquisitory,
Yep.
non-based in any sort of fact or past. Do either of you know, and more specifically Andrew, because I know that when you did own a hermit crab, you were interested more into the physiological side of it. Is bleach good or bad for hermit crabs in their drinking water? Again, purely hypothetical.
I'm seeing as they're a living thing, and bleach don't do good with living things. I'm gonna say probably not an ideal part of their diet.
Okay, so hypothetically again, if I were to have a hermit crab, or
Yeah.
or I had a hermit
Yeah.
crab foist upon me and no real
Yeah.
way of getting rid
Yeah.
of it, short of it becoming incapacitated,
Yeah.
could I then poison the crab with bleach?
I mean, you could poison it. You could simply not give it water or food for weeks. You could.
Not suggesting that in any way.
You could. There's many ways to kill them. They're also very finicky. Like they'll also die if it's not like you have to do one squirt of water on the one side, but the other side has to be pretty dry because they need like sort of humid and like kind of warm to. And they also need cold and dry. They need both, and if they don't have both,
They're dead.
Then they die, and they it's like you have to feed them in a very specific way, and they have to have like this kind of water for drinking and then this kind of water for like sitting in, and if that gets
levels.
fucked up, they're done. So and they need like coconut fiber, and they need sand. And then if you have to change out the coconut fiber,
But leave the sand, because
Leave
the
the
sand
sand.
has to go 2 changes and the coconut fiber 1 change.
and yeah, they fucking stink. I don't know how I can't reiterate that enough. They smell so bad. How bad did my house smell when I had those fucking?
I
crabs?
mean, I'm probably not the best person to ask about that. We've had debates.
Smells, yes, indeed. You're kind of smell blind. You've experienced more horrible smells and noxious odors and poisonous gases than a human probably should. So, to you, it's like, is it literally burning my nostrils and my eyes? No, it ain't that bad.
As a great man me once said, it don't fucking bother me any. Don't fucking bother me none. Also, we can give away the date on this podcast because this is our last episode for this year. And tomorrow we will be experiencing live in concert for, in my experience, the first time in well over 36 months, the return
To the stage.
to the capital stage of League of Wolves and Friends. How pumped are we?
I'm pumped to see League of Wolves, but honestly, I'm like ecstatic about seeing 7 Mile Sun again.
I've already seen them.
I
They're
have
great.
too, but they're so like they put on a fucking like that show at the Capitol when they did the 2 sets was electric. Electric.
Yeah, like I named some pretty big bands that I asked Kelsey if she would rather see instead of 7 Mile Sun, and she almost unanimously chose 7 Mile Sun.
I 100% agree. Like they need to make it. Like they are so fucking talented. Like their recordings, like everything they do, like in terms of their music they have released that you can listen to, very high quality, also good.
So the show isn't after this episode releases, because that will be Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Today is the 17th. Tomorrow was the 18th. 18th is
Yeah.
when we're seeing the show.
But yeah, their
So if
live
you
show
don't
is
have
just incredible.
tickets, too bad. This is happening before this comes out, so you have no way of coming to the show.
I can tell you what I know is going to happen. After we finish filming today, I'm going to go onto our backup system, our network of test storage, and I'm going to go into a folder that was made for a dear friend. And I'm going to check to see if there are backups on that folder. And if I don't see those backups on Saturday when we are at the show, tomorrow when we are at the show with 7 Mile Sun and some of our dear friends, I'm going to take that dear friend, I'm going to put him on his knees. And I'm going to take the band to whom he is beholden to, and I'm going to stand them up there, and they'll cry. And I'll say, I'm going to cut his limbs off inch by inch for the rest of the evening. And I need you to tell me where I start. And then I'll start. And then I'll say again, what's next? I did the left foot. Should I do the right foot or should I continue with the left foot? Or maybe you want me to see do the hands. And they'll cry. We'll be there for 16 hours or more, however long it takes me. He'll be long dead by the time I finish chopping him up in little bits.
Are you gonna try keep him alive for a bit? Like,
Yeah, another prehistoric podcast where we end up talking about chopping someone to
I'll
bits.
tourniquet him as long as I can. If you've seen Sin City with Elijah Wood,
Oh, that's a deep dive. That was a Moose Fest podcast where we talked about that, or a Funky Moose podcast.
was it?
yeah, you
Where
can
you
talking about
talking
people
about
up in
chopping our
bits.
competitors into bits. You're like, not that I would ever do that or think about chopping people to bits, but you,
Really?
oh yeah,
I think
And so I say
you kind of blacked out.
to our dear friend, you can't see this and you can't hear this and you don't know what is at stake.
Until after it's gonna
But
happen.
you have been given warning after warning. I have told you again and again. The chances are there. You had every chance. And so after this, like I said, I'm going to go on that and I'm going to check. And if it is not there, you will cause a lot of hurt and a lot of trauma to everyone at the at this place that we're going to, because I won't let anyone leave until I'm done. And so that is what is at stake, ladies and gentlemen. A man being chopped into itty teeny tiny bits.
I talked about cutting people up.
Yes.
Yeah, specifically like
I
people.
think it was
who-
insinuated and then it became a running joke and then we kept joking about it and
Yeah.
come back to
I
it.
shouldn't have talked about cutting people up like that.
I don't see why not. Especially when it's true. And when that is a real threat.
For any of you out there who are looking at the wide, which is our 3-shot, the one you're seeing now with all three of us, and you're looking to the lower half of the frame, and you're thinking to yourself, my God, that sign is so well designed, but I'm a little bit confused. I had been promised this year that the Prehistoric Productions group, in any capacity, 1, 2, or all three of us, would be in charge of the creation of a gingerbread house. Now, if you look closely, the caricature on this side of the desk there, the front of our area,
Ah, fuck it. It's the last episode.
is if you can see there, so that's Dr. Does he have a first name? Gregory?
Well, it's Hugh Laurie, and the character he plays,
Gregory House?
I don't know, probably.
I don't know.
Gregory
We're gonna
House.
call him Gregory House, but if you can see there, that's Dr. House, and if you can really get in on that texture on his face there, you'll see that, in fact, he has been textured by my hand with gingerbread, thus creating a...
Icing, is that supposed to be on his eyebrows?
Yeah, so he's done up with the little
gumdrop
gumdrop buttons.
eyes?
Yeah. And,
Gumdrop eyes and icing eyebrows.
yeah, and that's...
Why not more icing?
The texture of
details
his
of the
skin
face?
is that of a gingerbread house. So there's our gingerbread house.
Much like that comic that we love of the gingerbread man.
Yeah, Andrew, put your hand up where Fran would be. You can get the framing again. Check that hand. Looks like we're in focus. A little higher framing, maybe. Right there. Get the pig in the back. I didn't turn the lights on, shit. It's okay. You can't hardly fucking see the fucking things anyway.
Pretty sure they're dead.
Oh, that was them on, motherfucker. So that's our gingerbread house. I'm not super proud of it.
No, you just mention it constantly because you're ashamed. Should we do a Reddit roundtable?
Yeah, and we're gonna get Fran another top up there. Yeah. I'm gonna hurt his tummy. We're all gonna have achy tummies. Tummy ache.
I get more violently creative when I'm drunk.
Yeah.
Violently creative?
Creatively violent.
Creatively
That's
violent, however you want to say
creatively
it.
Do we want to... I got a couple here. Do we want to... Okay, this one's good. I'll decide. I was going to ask, but I'm just choosing for you. Am I the asshole for deleting my friends' wedding photos in front of them?
Be tough to justify this one, but I'd like to hear it.
I'm not really a photographer. I'm a dog groomer. I take lots of photos of dogs all day to put on my Facebook and Instagram. It's my thing, if that makes sense. A cut and a photo with every appointment. I very seldom shoot things other than the dogs, even though I have a nice setup. A friend got
I'd love to see your nice setup.
A friend got married a few days ago, and wanting to save money, asked if I'd shoot it for them. I told him it's not really my forte, but he convinced me by saying he didn't care if they were perfect. They were on a shoestring budget, and I agreed to shoot it for $250, which is nothing for a 10-hour event. On the day of, I'm driving around following the bride as she goes from appointment to appointment before the ceremony, taking photos along the way.
Are there any pictures of this?
I shoot the ceremony itself, and during the reception, I'm shooting speeches and people mingling. I started around 11 a.m. and was due to finish around 7:30 p.m. Around 5 p.m., food is being served, and I was told I cannot stop to eat because I need to be the photographer. In fact, they didn't save me a spot at any table. I'm getting tired, and at this point, kind of regretting doing this for next to nothing. It's also unbelievably hot. The venue is an old Veterans Legion, and it's like 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and there's no AC. I told the groom I need to take off for 20 minutes to get something to eat and drink. There's no open bar or anything. I can't even get water, and my 2 water bottles are long empty. He tells me I need to either be the photographer or leave without pay. With the heat, being hungry, being generally annoyed at the circumstances, I asked if he was sure. And he said yes. So I deleted all the photos I took in front of him and took off, saying I'm not his photographer anymore. If I was to be paid $250, honestly, at that point, I would have paid $250 just for a glass of cold water and somewhere to sit down. Was I the asshole? They went right on their honeymoon, and they've all been off social media, but a lot of people have been posting on their wall asking about photos with 0 responses.
I mean, I just like, who are these people that you're finding to be your friends? All these things are like, my sister said to me, fuck off, and then she shot me. So I told her to fuck off. Am I the asshole? I don't know. In what world do you call people your friends that are like, hey, can I have 20 minutes off? No.
I feel like a lot of these, again, it's around a wedding.
Like
it's around a wedding. I feel like
delete the photos. If Andrew did that shit to me, I'd fucking punch him, and then I'd smash his camera, smash his phone, hit his wife, hit all the groomsmen, hit all the bridesmaids, and then light a ring of fire on the outside of the building. Chain the fucking doors.
Yeah. Not just you. He's used to shirts, but this would be this.
Like, and
this,
then I'd be like,
again.
am I the asshole? And I'd be screaming at nobody.
Grab onto his package, running as quickly as he can around it. Am
I the asshole?
Just barking at all the guests.
Sorry, Andrew. Go ahead. I cut you off there. You have the floor.
I try to leave. You don't let them.
I feel like a lot of friendships aren't, they're pretty surface level, and like I feel like there are certain things where you get to see someone's true colors when they go through a circumstance. So for example, like living with someone, you might have a perfectly good relationship with them beforehand, but then you get to kind of see behind the curtain, and that changes the relationship, changes someone, maybe changes the view of that person.
How could anybody be such an asshole?
There are people who just were raised poorly, I think, to think that like I'm giving you money to do a thing.
Entitlement.
Now I'm entitled to.
If I have,
I'm paying you, so
entitled.
if I have
entitled.
child rearing advice for anyone, make not entitled children, and they'll figure everything else out. Like, make your children not hyper entitled, and then everything else could kind of get.
Well,
fit into
you got to be
place.
careful not to go too far the other way of.
You know who had the best upbringing? Gohan, after Piccolo kidnapped him. That is how you raise a child to be successful in life, until later on in life where they become a total pansy. But like earlier, between ages 5
really sick
and
for
25,
15
he was
years.
fucking sweet.
15 years, he was sick.
Raise your kids like Piccolo raises kids.
But like, it's like, no, I don't get it. I'm so fucking pissed off at this one.
That's kind of why I picked. I knew we would, because we were people who are used to dealing with a certain ration of bullshit from some clients. So it's like, yeah, I was interested to see. Not that I thought your
Even when we
perspective
do
would
little
be
things
different.
for friends,
Yeah,
they would never dare say. I don't mind if
No.
someone's like, I don't like the creative approach you're taking with. Is there any way we can make it look more like this?
there's a big difference between like constructive criticism, which is what I would call that, for a product that you're endorsing, paying for,
What
whatever.
you get is what you get. What you get.
Well, it was also like, how does like you need to be doing work. What job? Well, I guess there probably are some that you get paid less than $250 for like 10 hours of intense work, but like
The guy who holds the earth.
yeah,
Paid very poorly.
You don't get break.
you don't get paid.
But-
Ask for
nothing.
break, they say nope, can't do it, buddy.
No break, baby. But no, I don't know.
Now I'm picturing this guy. Zeus, please.
No break, baby.
keep it stoked. No break, baby. I just don't understand how. God damn it! I'm mad.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, like here's another, just because you were talking about this kind of before, but it's like, let's say he asked for a break and the person said, actually, we're about to do this thing. How about after this thing?
Would
Totally
you mind
totally
put it in
reasonable.
their court? Would you mind just waiting till then? If they say no, it's like, well, I guess we'll figure it out then.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's like that you're being totally reasonable.
Yeah,
You're
but
asking
it-
for a thing, and there's a specific thing you want them to catch. This attitude of like, this is actually something that really fucking frustrates me. And I understand the sentiment, and I've been on sets like this, and I've been in work environments like this, and I get it. But it's just, so it's the sentiment that like there's some directors. I think Zack Snyder's one, Christopher Nolan might be one. It's certain, maybe Quentin Tarantino's one. There's certain directors that are famous for this, where they're like, no chairs on set, nobody gets to sit down ever, and it's like I get it. Like, you want everybody on the ball, you want everybody thinking, you want everybody like on their game or whatever. Surround yourself with better people, because if you need to threaten them without taking
that's true.
breaks to get them to do their
get
best,
what you need.
get better people around you, because it's like this is weird. It's weird to under threat of not being able to sit down, forcing people to do things.
I also
like,
feel like all that would do is have people pretend to look busy more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that necessarily equals the result he thinks it does. Like, that's everything you're saying is 100% true. Like, just because we're sitting down, we can't be creative and on the ball. Like, that doesn't compute.
I'm fucking pissed off about this lady. The husband said this to her?
The groom.
The groom?
The groom said this too. We don't
Fucking
know the
burn
gender.
that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Fucking burn that motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know.
I don't think I'm gonna say this because you're trying to talk about this with the red things. None of these people that we've been presented with, or at least very few of them, are friends. These are not friends.
Yeah, that's
this
not
is
your
not
friend.
a friendship
You
dynamic.
have a bad idea of what friends are.
You have a person you know.
Yeah.
That is
Like, if that person's your friend, then all my friends are like very intimate, like
Family.
like family. They are my family. Then
Wives.
Your friends, yeah.
I have many wives and many husbands.
Yeah, like-
because if that's your friend, then holy fuck is our scale of what friendship is.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are like acquaintances or torn family.
Yeah, they
members.
just say like, yeah, this is a friend of mine.
Yeah, they're,
Read us another one's gonna really piss me off.
I don't know if this one
I'm getting
pisses you-
worked
I don't
up
know if
over
this
here
one
on
pisses
the
you off.
podcast.
This is an
Got a
interesting
new
one.
haircut.
Holy fuck, those antlers aren't attached to your head?
No, that's all cosmetic.
Would I be the
Cosmetic
asshole?
prosthetics, and I'm Sorry,
These are my actual ears.
I've had some drinks.
Would I be the asshole for not drinking on my 21st birthday?
Like, this hurts like a son of a bitch. Ow.
Yes, done. I don't care if you got. I don't care if you fucking one kidney bullshit.
I at
what'd it
20
say?
Okay, so would I be the asshole for not drinking on my 21st birthday?
Yep.
I, 20-year-old
I
female.
don't care if you have a doctor's fucking. You're going open heart the next day. Postpone it.
I, a 20-year-old female, turned 21 in a few months. My mother, 41, is very excited about this. She's a bit of an alcohol enthusiast. She even contemplated becoming a bartender at one point.
Bring it on.
So she's been planning my party and what bars we're going to go to since before I was even 20.
Is the mom hot?
We don't know. I, however,
Pi- Mom's
Picture didn't happen.
I, however, am not so excited. I don't want to drink. My grandmother, late 50s, my mother's mother, was an alcoholic when my mother was a child. And I have an addictive personality type already. I'm worried I might become an alcoholic.
Well, if you're not already an alcoholic, you don't have an addictive personality, sweetheart.
I also don't know how my body will react to alcohol, as I've
Good.
never
The
had any,
answer to that is good.
despite my mother constantly bugging me to have just a sip.
I don't know how
Of this or
my
that.
body will react to the outdoors. I don't think I should go outside.
I'm very worried I'll make a fool of myself, and my stepfather, 58, is a very mean man. I don't want to be mocked for the rest of my life over something dumb I did. I told her I really don't feel comfortable, and she assured me it would be fine, and she wasn't letting my 21st birthday pass without me having a birthday cake shot and a White Russian. But I know that won't be the end. She tried to assure me by saying I didn't have to drink if I didn't want to after, though she didn't seem very happy about that. But I knew it would turn into her bugging me about it every time we went out, and I still live with her. She did something similar with weed. It's legal where I live. When I was 18, she kept asking, and I kept saying no, but eventually I gave in to shut her up. We've both since stopped use. I know this is important to her, but I really don't want to. Would I be the asshole?
Yeah, well, move to
It's
fucking
like-
Saudi Arabia.
It's like, would you be the asshole? No, like someone like pressuring you into something
it's good.
is like no. It's like not caving to that pressure doesn't make you an asshole, but like your reasoning behind not drinking is very like
To bring it into terms everyone
Scared?
will understand. Was Gohan an asshole before Piccolo got his hands on him?
yeah.
So everybody should. There you go. That's everybody will understand
Piccolo
that.
drinks.
Piccolo drinks.
Everybody drinks.
The
I don't trust people who don't drink.
the mother in this is weird to me. That
Yeah, she's
how,
too
do
much
they sound
like-
old like that. That's
Yeah, 40
crazy
something.
immature stuff to be doing at that age.
Well, yeah, like she
The
obviously had her
pressuring,
daughter
yeah.
when she was like 18 because the girl's 21 and the mother's 40, so like very young.
But it's like at this stage of my life, I have no interest in pressuring people who don't want to drink anymore.
My
like
kids,
doesn't
I do.
doesn't
Big
even.
time. Like, my nieces and nephews, 100%.
Yeah, well, okay,
They
fair,
don't-
fair,
they
fair
don't
play.
drink, you're
You're an
fucking-
uncle. This is a slightly different dynamic, but like,
to me it seems very similar to the dynamic that you were discussing with we had a conversation about the one day of like there is an archetype of people who don't drink, because I don't want to I can't classify everyone. I don't trust. It's not that I don't trust people who don't drink. I don't agree with that, but
Don't trust them.
because there's lots of good reasons and things I can understand as to why someone might not drink, but it's this
'Cause they're
archetype.
pussy.
It's this archetype of people that are like afraid of like.
It's not
life.
that you don't have to get hammered. But being
No.
afraid of alcohol just for the sake of being afraid and have never drank before.
Yeah, it's like you're making claims about something that you don't actually have any personal experience with.
yeah, I'm 100% there.
I mean, I'm a hypocrite with like harder things, but it's not like that's less of a social thing. Alcohol is such a social thing.
100%. Like again, that's like the big argument that people used when with marijuana, and why marijuana was illegal, and why alcohol is legal is because, like it or lump it, it's part of it's so ingrained in our culture.
Yeah.
And marijuana isn't. It was the argument, right?
Yeah.
So I think, that again, I think that has merit in into like you said, it's not about getting hammered all the time, but there's certain parts of our culture that you miss.
Here, I think this is an attitude I'd like to, or it's something I'd like. There's this thing that people say, but I'm like, this comes off as ingenuine to me, or disingenuous. It's like, let's say someone drinks, somebody doesn't drink, right? And like, let's say you're a person who drinks, you have no problem with drinking, healthy relationship with alcohol.
Let's say you love drinking.
Healthy relationship with alcohol. You go into a setting where you're with 5 people who don't drink, and they've never drank, and they're like, well, and they say things like, I'm scared of what would happen if I drank. It's like, I have addiction in my family.
I don't need alcohol.
Whatever. I'm scared. I have an addictive personality. No, like more, less
Condescending.
a little more like, upon first glance, these seem like
reasonable
reasons. I don't think a lot of them are, but they seem more reasonable than being condescending or whatever. And then they say, no, but I don't have any problem with alcohol. You drink, you drink. Fuck you. You have a problem with alcohol, and it's like, you've made it weird. Like your total inexperience with this thing and your lack of having any sort of knowledge base. Like, you have not tried it. You haven't done anything. You have no evidence to support your fear of this thing. Well, anecdotal evidence, I guess, but it's like you yourself have no whatever. And so it's like, I hate it. Yeah, I hate it. You can't simultaneously say no for me, no, never. Or if you do something, then you understand that it's like, well, this is the effect it has on me or whatever, and then you make an educated decision to like not do that thing.
And there's also
then you can genuinely say, it's not for me, but I'm totally fine with you if you do that thing. But before you have any experience with a thing, saying no, I'm totally down with that. It's like, you are not totally down with it. You have no experience with it. Like, there's no frame of reference for this thing. Like, you are not okay with it. That is why you are not trying it, or you've never tried it. Like, you are not okay with this thing. Don't say you're okay with this thing, because you're not. Like, it always comes off as disingenuous to me, somebody who's, it's like I've been in groups, I'm not going to say with who specifically, but it's like people who've never drank, but then they will say something like, no, we're totally fine if you drink. It's like, you're not. Like, you're not. Like, you would prefer that all 6 of us don't drink and we play Monopoly here. Like, that's what you would prefer. Don't tell me that you're totally fine with me getting hammered here in front of you, because you are not. That's just a lie.
Well, it's like, I think maybe more what they're trying to say is like, I don't morally object to you drinking. Like, you do what you want to do. I don't, like, you know what I mean? Like, not like, they're not okay with it in the sense of like, they're going to be like, yeah, Fran, shot, do a shot. But they're not going to like morally judge you for choosing to drink, is what I think what that means.
I think I can't speak for everybody, but it's like, because to me, there is this difference between people who have never tried something and object to it for themselves, than people who have tried something and then object to it for themselves, because they're speaking from a place of like being educated about something. So it's like it's just a weird thing to me, where it's like there is a difference between those two classes of people, and the one saying it's not for me, I'm okay, but I'm okay with you doing it, and the other one saying it, are very different things. Like, the one comes off as genuine to me because it's like I told you are of the, you understand what we're talking about, like we have a similar language, whereas like the other person is not. They are not on the same planet as you are.
No, they're speaking
and
completely.
it's like, I don't know. There's something that bothers me about that statement when somebody has never done something and they say, no, but I'm totally down with you doing it. It's like, you're not. Because if you were, you would have tried it. You wouldn't be, you're obviously afraid of it. You obviously do have some problem with this thing.
Judgment.
You know what I mean? Sure. Like, yeah, I'm just like flashing back to fucking church groups right now. It's just, but yeah, it's just like, I can see it. I can see it in your fucking face. You're not okay with this thing.
Yeah, the mother being so horned up about it is more like trying to relive her youth through her daughter. I don't know.
Well, I again, like, it's the excessive. Again, we're getting the daughter's perspective, and I know.
The mother's probably like, I tried to get her to drink once. She's such a little bitch.
Well, I also think that like this intense pressure that the daughter's feeling is, if it was someone other than her mother, it wouldn't be like, they're putting all this intense pressure on me because it's her mother who's like, hey, do you want to go drinking for your 21st birthday? And it's like, oh, you're putting so much pressure on me. It's like, because it's from a parental figure and not like, you know what I mean? Your perception of like
what the fuck
your
do you want to
parents-
do for your 21st birthday?
Monopoly.
Yeah, Monopoly. The worst board game ever. Let's play it.
But we'll make the hundreds, thousands. Not for it. Play.
Not to put in the game.
And are we going to play with free parking or no free parking?
No free parking.
Well, no, because we're adults, so we have to
Yeah.
pay for parking. Or 20 bucks.
Yeah, but no, it was one of those ones where it's like, obviously she's not an asshole for not caving to the pressure, but it's like, maybe re-examine your approach to your life, because you're like, as the great Ferris Bueller once said, if you don't stop and smell the flowers, like you're gonna, like, what's the point?
Yeah,
you know?
you're scared. You're
afraid of experiencing it.
Yeah, and it's like, you fucking stop being scared of shit.
And it's also like,
Try it.
again, like, unless like, do you really not trust, like, there's obviously some like not trusting of the mother too, because it's like, hey, I know you might be nervous about this, but like, you're going with your mom out, like your mother's not gonna, like,
Also,
you know what
like,
I mean? Like,
getting addicted to stuff is not as easy as you think it is. That would be my number one advice to like almost anyone. Like, I religiously tried to start smoking, which is notoriously easy to get hooked on. And I tried and tried and tried, and my mother died from alcoholism, and I tried to be a drunk.
because addiction isn't, it's there's this misconception
and it's all genetic.
that there are these substances that have these like this power, and like, yes, certain substances,
Literally. Magic.
Yeah, the certain substances have chemical consequences, which are like withdrawal from not having that substance, but that alone does not create an addiction.
No, yeah. If you have any understanding of how chemical addiction works, and that is the addiction we were talking about, is a chemical addiction that it's like your body goes through a thing and then you need the next hit or whatever. It's physically impossible to become chemically addicted to anything after one use. You can't.
No, you can't.
It's not possible. Like your body can't
Well, and it's also not,
chemically change in that way after a single use.
and also just because you experience with like addiction is a lot more complex than just like theoretically you could be a responsible
Heroin user.
cocaine user or heroin user, right?
Absolutely.
There's a there, like, just because you experience withdrawal doesn't mean that you're like, now you're addicted and like you have to, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah, then everybody who's ever had a hangover is addicted to alcohol.
Yeah.
no, well, but like, I guess it's again, like, just because you experience that, doesn't, like, the addiction comes from like the whatever emotional shit you got going on, whatever hole in your life you're trying to fill with a
it's so
substance.
much about
Smoking too, though. I
Yeah,
think,
fucking
too.
actually controversial thing. Addiction is not inherently bad. It's not. Like, you can be addicted to something. It can be you totally function totally fine. You could.
Yeah, sure.
Like, addiction is not inherently bad.
Actually-
there are forms of addiction that are negative, but you could totally be addicted to something and it not negatively impact you whatsoever.
I guess like I wouldn't call that addicted though then, because part of like the medical term for addiction, like I guess like the practical therapeutic like in terms of like treating addiction, part of the like factors for it being addiction is, does it negatively impact your life and your ability to live the life you want to live? The other one is, are you distressed about your own behavior? So like, addiction isn't about volume. Addiction is like, there are people who drink every day who aren't alcoholics, and there are people who only drink on the weekends who would be considered, or drink one weekend a month, who would be considered alcoholics, because it's not about how often you do it or
the volume
of it. It's all about how does it impact your life and your relationships, and how do you feel about your own behavior.
One of the most powerful things anyone ever said to me about addiction and chemical consumption was actually your dad.
Yeah.
And he said, it is not an addiction unless it is getting in the way of your priorities.
Yeah.
If you are beginning to prioritize that over top of other things that you hold dear, such as career advancement, relationships,
Exactly.
enjoyment in sports or things that you use as familiar in your life, and you're using it as a substitute for those things. I mean, it's different if like you have convinced yourself that alcohol is the thing. It's like, it's not getting in the way of it. It is. You know.
Yeah, and like certainly there's a classification of functioning alcoholics. All that means is they have their shit together enough that they're not like in turmoil. That's not. I know that's not what you're talking about or what you're talking about.
I almost to an extent because it's like because like really as we're defining addiction, it's like it's completely self. Like you have to decide you're addicted before because basically no one else can tell you you're addicted.
Because trust me, you cannot tell an addict.
No. But once again, from this definition, if you are like, I'm fine, man. It's like if I'm playing Warcraft 12 hours a day, I'm eating, I'm sleeping. I don't want to fucking hang out with you. I don't want a girlfriend. I don't want this thing. If that's what you want to do and that makes you happy, fucking do it.
But the difference would be if people you have a relationship with came to you and said, "Hey, like your behavior is impacting our relationship, and this is a relationship you care about," and you're like, "No, I don't care.
I'm choosing over you.
I'm choosing this over you." Again, you're the one. You're the only one who can. You're the arbiter of, am I going to change this behavior?
It's interesting because this definition, it completely changes context. If outward parties are able to decide on addiction, or if an inner party is able to decide whether or not.
No, because I think
both. All of those things.
Because
like
I said, let's say a kid. Just listen. Like, let's
yeah.
say a kid just decides he's like, I fucking love Warcraft and fuck my friends. Like, I don't want to hang out with my friends anymore. Fuck them.
But
this makes me happy, and I don't need a girlfriend. And it's like fucking play Warcraft. That makes you happy.
But the key to this is, did it shift your priorities from pre-substance, whether it be Warcraft, alcohol, drugs? Because like if you're wrapped up in drugs and you're telling yourself drugs are the priority now.
But doesn't everything you do in your life, every experience, change your that thing experience? Like your life, like before you have a girlfriend, your life isn't revolved around your girlfriend. Post girlfriend, you have an addiction to your girlfriend.
Yeah, you can be addicted to relationships.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like this is if you break down, it's like. This is what I'm saying here is like this definition is incredibly nuanced and like
absolutely.
Relies on certain assumptions that if you start breaking it down, it's not as clear cut.
No, and you could say like, yeah, well,
because if somebody telling you this is negatively impacting your life, you say, nope, I like it. It's like, yeah, but you'll die at 30. I want to die at 30.
Look at that interview I showed you guys with that guy, the crack addict.
Yeah,
and he's like, it's the best. The crack is the best thing ever. He's like, I've been an engineer. I've been to amazing parties. I've done coke and I've smoked weed and I've had girlfriends and I've been in love and I do all these things and none of it is as good as crack. So I'm gonna do crack and the guy's like, if crack's gonna kill you, and the guy's like, that's fine. I love crack, and then he dies like 3 days later.
Yeah, it's like let's say it's like on one hand, it's like you can go live on a farm and you can till earth with your bare hands and you'll live till you're 100, or you can live in the city, fucking party, have a great time, lots of fun, but you'll die when you're 25. It's like, I want to do the 25 thing. Like,
we have, like, obviously for the purposes of this discussion, we have to set certain boundaries, i.e., like, we have to assume that this person wants to be a functional member of society and contribute. Exactly. If you don't want to do that, then of course.
Yeah.
Well,
it relies on those
move into a cage.
It relies on presuppositions, which is interesting.
Well, but it doesn't though, because like, I guess it all depends on like how much do you value feedback from outside of your circle?
Zero, then
I mean, if you're a person who does zero, again, like,
also they could be wrong, just straight up.
Yeah, but I don't think it's like it's they're certainly not. Other people are infallible, and it's certainly also not like my own perception of my life is 100% accurate.
Is that all that matters?
I mean, again, I think when it comes down to it, yeah, like you're the man in the glass. That whole thing that I love, that poem. Yeah, you have to be right with yourself. That's the thing that matters the most at the end of the day. But like, your life also consists of relationships and other people, and if you disregard that and those people, there are consequences to that.
Definitely.
So it's like you certainly can choose to not care about that. That's obviously a choice anyone can make.
I mean, that's ultimately like what bad addiction comes down to.
Exactly
what we're describing, where
100%.
You're taking your life that you built for yourself and then completely disregarding it.
Basically,
exactly.
Like with addictions, people are like, your life could be like this if you stop doing this, and then you'd be like, I don't care. Like that sounds shitty to me. It's like, is Fuse back to couch guy? Maybe he was fucking happy as shit as he was sitting there dying. Maybe he was like, man, did I just live my life exactly the way I wanted to live
like
my
this.
life. Fuck everyone else.
Top you up, friend?
And it's like everyone else would look at that situation. They'd say, this is bad. This man has an unhealthy relationship with
this
food
couch.
and this couch. But he's like, A, I chose this life. B, I ate exactly as much food as I fucking wanted to, motherfucker. With a smile on my face every day.
I guess it would be like, part of it is, I guess, like, this is, again, it's personal work, but it's also like, are you making that choice like with full awareness of all of your options, or are you making it from the choice from like a place of like, I'm experiencing depression, I see no way out of this, therefore I'm choosing whatever. And it's like, well, you're not like,
Soft White Underbelly shows that shit. I gotta go with that.
who you truly are. I mean, whatever that actually means, isn't the thing that's making the choice. It's the depression or that state you're in that is. I mean, again, this is getting into like layers of like, who are we? What is our identity?
Exactly. There's a lot.
It's certainly not
a lot that is. Like I said, it's just like
thing with addictive behavior,
you break
right?
down a definition like addictiveness of the way we defined it, and it's like, man, does this rely on a lot of assuming things about the way people think and
I guess
what makes people happy and what happiness is and like what it's like we have. It's like it's kind of it's like the a good. This isn't the same thing, but it's a good like a not synonym. Analogy. It's like the American dream, the nuclear family. It's like this is what happy. It's like when you define happiness as this thing, and then anything breaks out of that, like a gay relationship or people with no kids or a single. It's like the second these things break out of that mold, it's like, well, we're going to define you as unhappy. But it's like, once again, it's just like a very like immediately my brain goes to this meta discussion of like what happiness actually is and like. And whatever. So it's interesting.
There's also this weird thing that I think some people do in context with certain things where it's like, if I'm happy, your thing also can't make you happy. And it's like the relationship thing, the nuclear family thing. It's like, just because the nuclear family or whatever that concept is like a positive experience doesn't mean that alternative families can't also be like it's not one or the other. And it's also just like the idea of like ideals and like moving towards an ideal. It's not like either you reach the peak and that's good and everything else is shit. It's like if, for example, the nuclear family, like both parents regardless of gender or whatever together, couple of kids, that's the ideal. Maybe scientifically there's some way to prove that is the ideal. That doesn't negate the fact that other versions of family are also valid and good. Even if we could somehow scientifically prove that X is the ideal.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Well, it's like proving that the ideal physical form is this. It's like
blonde hair.
Why does this help? How is this helpful? It's like what and if somebody doesn't fit this ideal, does that make them any more or less than somebody who does fit that physical ideal? The answer to that question is no. It's arbitrary.
Yeah.
It's scientifically interesting.
And there are circumstances
societally
where it's
arbitrary.
And there's circumstances where it's good to know what the ideal is so that you can know what the spectrum, how the spectrum exists, and then you can kind of decide what you need to do to better yourself or whatever, right?
Do people get up
Take
to
a
the
screenshot.
bathroom in the middle
Put
of
it in
the
your bathroom.
Yeah. All the time, yeah. That's why Jamie's there. That's why they have Joe and Jamie.
Right.
So if Joe gets up or the guest gets up, then Joe and Jamie talk.
Right.
Or if Joe goes and, I mean, Joe doesn't ever fucking take a piss because he's been doing it for however long. So he knows how to hold his bladder for however long. But if the guest gets up, or if Joe does happen to get up, then Jamie talks with whoever. And usually if anyone's getting up to pee, it's like there's a bunch of them.
Jamie?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. There's usually a bunch of them, and if anyone gets up to go, it's like because they're drinking a bunch and it's more of a party podcast. There's usually like a few of them on. I haven't watched Joe Rogan other than clips in like years.
What the fuck?
Right.
This thing stopped recording. I don't know when.
Oh no. So talking a little bit more about how awesome alcohol is. I'll tell you, it's interesting to think about like it's If I had to sum alcohol up in one quote and its impact on my life, I would say it was the best of times.
It was
and
the worst
of times.
I would say what I said to my sister, because she's 6 years younger, when she asked me about marijuana, and she was coming to that age in high school where her friends were like starting to try it and whatever. And what I said to her was to not believe the hype. This is before it was legal, but I said to her, like, not to believe the hype on either side of it. And don't believe anyone who says, like, it's the devil, it's of the devil, and like it's the worst thing ever, like it'll ruin your life, because that's not true. And also don't believe people who are like
It'll cure everything.
like it'll cure everything. It's the best thing you can do for your life. Smoke it all the time. Smoke it every day. It's like, well, no, those people also aren't right. Like, it's a drug. It has consequences. Whether those consequences are like, that's what those consequences are, and how significant is what's debatable. But yeah, don't believe the hype on either side of it.
I think it's important just to remember, like, with any of that stuff, using substances, being around substance users and abusers, and people from different walks of life, I honestly can say that I firmly believe that addiction is at least 75% fucking
Circumstance
and mental health.
230. So
Anyway, to recap, if you guys heard anything we were talking about with addiction and mental illness, it is safe to say, in my experience, that as much of mental illness, or as much as addiction has to do with chemical properties, it has to do with circumstances.
yeah, I mean the chemical
And mental
properties.
illness.
The chemical properties are just something to navigate when you're choosing what substances to do and which ones not to, and being aware of them so you can mitigate them. Like, yeah, there's nothing is inherently addictive unless your personality and your circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a binge drinker, but I feel like there are times when I want to feel the effects of, like, okay, like the nice, for me, what alcohol does and the properties that I enjoy is, like, helps with the social lubrication. Obviously, I think that's, for most people, that's a box checked. But number two, it's just like that constant thinking about stuff. It just helps me, like, quiet other voices and be like, just be in the moment, which is, like, really, really nice. But there's lots of times where that's not what I want. Like, I go out for fucking lunch and I have a beer and now I feel foggy, and that's not the action items I'm trying to achieve today. I don't want that to be part of that, because it's actually now impeding my priorities. So I think that's, choosing, having a reason. I think having a reason to drink and becoming addicted, the addiction is just to also part of negating that addiction or avoiding it is having a reason not to drink. As much as, like, I need a drink because I'm so stressed out, or I need to fucking.
No, it's weird because the person, like this person we were talking about, this person that doesn't drink, it reminds me of, like, the parable of, like, the shadows on the cave wall, where it's like we stay in the cave, but it's like I saw these shadows in the cave wall, so there's something outside the cave, and it looks big and it's scary and it'll kill us if we go outside the cave. And it's like, for years, this fucking society or whatever, this family lives in this cave and whatever. And then one day, one guy decides to be brave and he goes and he says, it's a bush, and the moon was shining through the bush and it shined on the cave wall. And we've lived our entire lives here and weren't able to experience all this stuff and whatever. There was scarcity in the cave and there's all this plenty in the outside and we all could have been happy and whatever. And it reminds me of that, where it's just like, it's weird to assume something about yourself. It is weird like that. Like, the whole, like, I'm afraid I have an addictive personality. You're afraid of fear. Like, you're scared of you have concocted a fictional scenario in your brain that you have no evidence to suggest is true, other than maybe you say, like,
it's like, I'm scared of fire because I know it will burn.
But it would also be one thing if the person was like, I am a drug addict and therefore I'm not going to drink.
Yes, absolutely.
Because, like, you're an addict,
totally
right?
changed.
But, like, I have an addictive personality. It's like, well,
I'm afraid I have an addictive personality.
It's like, do you have
Yeah,
what evidence do you have?
Evidence. They have no.
It's not like they're like, I'm addicted to porn or I'm addicted to video games. Therefore, drinking might not be the best thing because I know I'm addicted to whatever other thing. You know what I mean?
I mean, who wants to watch porn after they finished? Like, how can you be addicted to porn?
Because again, like if you talk to anyone who's addicted, it's like dopamine.
It's terrifying. That's the thing. It's like you
I feel like these male celebrities are like, yeah, my wife says I'm addicted to porn.
Yeah,
I watch 3 times a week.
That's largely Christian bullshit. That the celebrity thing.
But when we hear an actual porn addict talk about it,
that shit is
like I would watch porn watch porn on my lunch break at work, and like I would sit and just watch porn for like hours before I went to sleep, and I'd wake up and watch porn in the morning.
Oh yeah,
it's
we've sailed far clear of needing to worry about that.
Yeah, real like
and we're not
pornographic addiction that like a doctor would diagnose is the scariest shit to read about.
Because
it's like, how does your fucking brain work? Like how? What?
Yeah, there are people like you've jerked off ever? You're addicted to porn. Like you've ever watched it? Or like
sicko.
No, I'm sure like every pubescent or whatever, every boy's been in that situation where it's like, oh, this was one too many today. This was one too many today. I'm weird. Whatever. It's like
if they find out.
It's like you go on Reddit and read about somebody who has real porn addiction, and it's like, whoo, am I ever healthy? Maybe we'll throw in another one today. I don't know. Fuck it.
No, I have to drive. No.
Just a little touch, just to finish as a friend.
Huh?
He's got a full one.
I gotta drive too, buddy. Let's go one more thing because like this feels unsatisfying. What are we at? Hour 7? Might be nice to hit like an hour and a half.
Sure.
I wish I fucking knew what was the last thing we were talking about before the recording stopped.
So for those of you who just heard us rambling and talking.
That's his whole podcast.
Our fucking foolproof system that we invested in because of our luck fucked up on us.
Yeah, it's
the one time.
What's weird is because it'll do multiple. So after it reaches a certain time, it'll start another clip, like another file. It stopped almost immediately after it started the second file. So I think something was wrong with the read on the hard drive, and when I plugged the hard drive into the computer, it wanted me to repair the hard drive first. So it's like that's with SSDs. It's very simple. There's no mechanic. It can't mechanically fail.
Right.
SSD
but the footage is not corrupt.
Yeah, SSD doing that is no big deal. Usually isn't a big deal. I've never had it be a big deal. But something tells me that it was that the hard drive was when it tried to start that second file.
You fucking son of a bitch. You fucking son of a bitch. You fucking son of a bitch.
No, it's like it almost, I kind of wish that I had been simultaneously with my laptop also doing a version of it, because if it's recording on the laptop and the SSD at the same time, then we have something. Yeah, fuck! God, it sucks. Like, I hate it. Nothing is worse with technology. I understand when you fucked up. Like, there's somewhere in the pipeline, you did something wrong, you could have been better, you fucked up.
Should have had this piece of equipment.
Nothing, this was all great. This worked for 11 podcasts in a row, this exact same setup. And then this fucking, the 12th one. The last fucking one.
But this is us. This is us. This is us. This is us. Jennifer Aniston. This is us. Is that?
So no one told you life was gonna be this way.
Is she in This Is Us? Who is that?
I never watched that. I don't know what that is.
This Is Us. Fran? This Is Us?
You sang it over and over again.
Hey!
Help.
Isn't This Is Us the one with the overweight lady and she's with the really hot guy? It's the Green guy who used to be Green Arrow and Smallville's in it. It's like the really wholesome. Oh, we're all.
Oh yeah, it's a family TV drama. I thought it was a movie. I had this wonderful quote about drinking that I'm trying to find.
It has the OG screen Oliver Queen in it.
I think as Winston Churchill once said, "You're not drunk unless you're holding onto the floor to keep from falling down."
Fuck, was he a fucking madman? Just incredible.
Churchill's my hero, but mostly because of the way he said, "Oh yes, oh yes."
I'm gonna find this.
That's a deep dive. If you can get that quote, wow.
Tell us a little more about it, Andrew.
What was the series he wrote? What was it called?
Churchill?
Yeah. Like he's famous for writing those World War II books, but what the fuck were they called?
No idea.
He wrote like a whole series of these. God, one was they made a Gary Oldman movie and they used it in the title of the Gary Oldman movie. In Our Darkest Hour or something like that. I think one of them was titled that. But yes, and he painted well. Churchill fucking painted well towards the end of his life. Prime Minister, writer, painter, drinker, senile.
That's great drinking thing I said.
Avid fan of baths.
Baths are fucking disgusting, and if you think they aren't, you're a filthy fucking human being.
You're sitting in a pot of water with dead skin cells.
Yeah, you're sitting in your own fucking filth. Yuck.
I've got this.
Like, obviously hot water is nice, but like to think that you get clean from a bath, no.
No, baths feel great.
They feel great, but they're not clean. Hygiene.
No, they're not hygienic. Well, they're probably hygienic. I don't know. It's probably better than doing nothing.
Yeah, for sure better than nothing, but like I can't get around the idea of just like you're sitting in your own fucking filth, man.
Here it is. I texted Goat this when I was fucking hammered one time. This is day 4 of a bender. I have officially started drinking. Goat's not even there. He's working. Finally, he replies. I told Phil, day 4 of a bender is what we work towards. It's like a runner's high. It's when the whole world slows down and hangovers are a thing of the past. When you become one with a higher power. Complete. Goat says, haha. I said, it's not easy. No one said it would be, but we're there, and I have tears in my eyes. He says, it's a beautiful thing. I say, finally, we drank through to the other side, cousin. It's just like we always talked about. That's addiction.
That should be on your tombstone.
That's addiction.
Just out of context on your tombstone.
Drinking through to the other side.
I like it being likened to runner's wall.
Yeah, breaking through like it. Like if you work hard enough.
Like if you drink hard enough, you can drink through and then you hit the high.
I remember when Ryan Svensson just showed me a whole new world. I can't remember when it was, but it was just like, I just got to that level where I said, I'm too drunk and I need to sleep and whatever. And he's just like, we haven't even started. We have not begun. And
That's what I mean.
He took me around the house. He fucking jammed his finger. Well, I might have done it myself. Vomited. I can't remember. We might have done a breathing exercise quick. Done maybe like a couple little runs, step. Get the adrenaline going. And he's like, and now we're going for much longer than
like. And that's the thing. Like, I think people romanticize like these college kids in the States and like these Miami beach party benders. But, and I don't know. I may never experience it again because, like I said, it is very difficult to do. But there is a euphoric state when you're so many days into drinking.
Because you're fucking sleep deprived.
You're sleep deprived and you're hungover, but you're still a little bit buzzed. And your mind is almost completely gone. But it's like you can just keep drinking and you never get any drunker. And you keep having more fun. And you never collapse and you always can do more.
Until you keep doing that until your liver shuts down and you die.
But
eventually.
That's the thing. You choose when to stop. That's what I like about the drinker's high, is that if you can.
I don't know if you do.
No, you choose.
Well,
when you drink for a night, the alcohol chooses when you're done. Like you're so fucked up, you have to go to bed.
Yeah, the liquor makes me see it clearly.
But it's like you drink all the way through. You push through plateaus. This is like going Super Saiyan, not enough. Ascended Saiyan, not enough. Super Saiyan 3, like you have to rap through these until you finally get to God mode. And you're like, you cannot stop me.
I guess like it's like Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. When he's the Green Goblin, is he still Norman Osborn, or has he transcended into a different state?
It doesn't matter.
I was watching from behind Norman's cowardly eyes.
It's like. Are you? Because it's like I have a rendezvous with death, and it's like I am not the same as I am when I'm plaster hammer drunk. We make different decisions.
This is
we say different things.
That's the beauty. When you get to the end,
I remain criminally responsible, 100%. You can send me to jail for anything that the Fran Goblin does.
From your own personal interpretation. So there's a divergence, right? When you start getting so drunk, you're so divergent. People who know you intimately are like, I don't even know that guy. But then it goes like this, and then it works its way back together.
I need to see the science.
there's a symbiotic like.
This is more of a spiritual experience.
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
it's like Hulk and Endgame.
Give me a second to expound upon this. And you definitely have both experienced phase 1, phase 2. Phase 1 is when you start getting tight and you're getting a little goofy, and now you're not really being yourself, but you're not someone different. You're just like a higher person yourself.
Level 1.
Level 1. Now, stage 2 of drinking is when you're standing in the bathroom alone, with looking in the mirror,
Take
and
a
from
big piss.
behind you, drunk Andrew or Francois comes up and taps you on the shoulder and says, "Night's over, bud. I'm going to take over, and we'll see you to deal with the consequences in the morning."
The criminal
Like
This is before blackout.
Yeah, you're dealing with this is right when you black out. It's like
Right before that
it's
happens.
like, Andy, buddy, I gotcha. You go have a rest. Shut the clock off. You're clocked out. I'm clocking in.
I'm gonna go kick some garbage cans over.
I'm gonna cry and I'm screaming and I'm saying things I would never say.
I got lots of things I need to do. Please, let's go.
Okay, now if you can drink to stage 3,
Like not pass out, basically.
not
what
pass
you're
out.
saying.
No, but you got to keep drinking and partying. This is when it's like everyone is still having a good time, and you got to be around the right people. It's not an alone. This is not an activity to do alone or something that can just be willed into existence. There's a certain number of circumstances
Factors
but at that
planets
point,
align.
and the beauty of this is, you tag back in, and you go.
You're like,
like
you come back online.
you're-
I've experienced this.
You're
I
standing-
have experienced this.
You're standing drunk
Yeah.
in the mirror,
The
and
way-
sober Andrew comes back up and says, "You're done.
The
You've
way
gotten this too
the
far."
way you guys are that you just described that,
You've been there.
it's
Okay, hold on. Let me just finish.
I know exactly what you're talking
So
about.
sober Andrew or Fran comes back up and says, I need to right the ship here."
It's like, whoa, buddy, you're off the rails.
Okay, now
Yeah.
this is
I won't be held criminally responsible.
this is a vital stage
I
4,
won't.
and this is where most people never come because they spook themselves sober and then they get to sleep. So phase 3 ends. Sober Brad looks in the mirror and watch Brad drunk walk away. 9 times out of 10, Brad drunk walks away and leaves me abandoned. And now I have to pick up the pieces. I got to try and go to bed, take some fucking drink some water. I'm
Advil.
eating. I'm like, I need to be ready for my hangover tomorrow because now you're so fucking brutally aware of how bad the hangover. And then, just faintly in the distance, you hear, and then drunk Andrew comes back in. He's like, "Let's just you and I party a little bit longer." And then I'm like, "Okay, so it's not gonna be that bad." He's like, "It's not gonna be
Man,
that bad.
it's like just have one. It'll help you
Can't
come
be much
off.
worse. We're gonna have a healer, just you and
Yeah,
me."
yeah.
And then the two of you together
Yeah,
continue on partying.
yeah. No, I know like I haven't really fully I haven't achieved it for long, but I know exactly. Like, you describing it that way, I'm like, okay, yeah, I've been there.
You know, it's like
The craziest thing is when you've been partying all night and like you have that blackout moment, and then it's like you come back online. It's like you black out at like 10, and then it's like you come out back online. It's like you're sitting around the fire and it's early in the morning. And it's like you didn't sleep, you weren't sleeping, but you're like, what? Like you're
a little rested because
yeah. You're like, what? It's like I'm here.
you
like,
napped in the car while somebody else was driving.
Exactly. It's exactly a great way to describe it.
So I have a question.
I gotta take a bathroom break. Go ahead.
I have to leave here soon. So
I have this would. This is not an opportune moment. You can't.
you can't. There's no way.
It's interesting. Because like I want you to, if any of you are listening to this, I want you to go back and listen to the way Brad described that experience, exactly the way he described it, with the snap and all this stuff and like exactly how he described it. Because it sounds a lot like. Well, it's the same experience, but it sounds just precisely like similar or the same experience. But it was very interesting to hear that description come out of that mouth, and in that way. And so I just have a question to ask both of them, and I'm just interested to hear the response. So this experience you described, this third stage.
Yeah.
Do you like this third stage?
No, it's hell. Stage 3 is hell. That's
You
where have
don't
to
like
fight
coming
through.
back from partying. Or sorry, stage 4. Stage 4 is the That's stage 4.
So stage 4
Stage
is
one?
stage 3 is
What
like,
is What stage is that?
Your consciousness coming back online after.
What stage is that?
That's 3.
That is 3? And you said you don't like 3.
No, 4 is when you're melding back together.
So
Three-
that's...
3 can be good or it can be bad.
3 is
Depends
like
on-
3 is like, oh fuck, I'm sober enough to realize that I'm gonna be hung the fuck.
What
away
is the
tomorrow.
point where you reactivate, ready to party again? What stage is that?
It's
Stage 4,
between
but it's
3 and
not
4.
about being ready to party again. It's like this.
You push, you decide you're going to keep going. Again, it's you talking about the factors, and correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes when you come like that, like coming out of that, like the blackout, you come out of it and it's like,
So what stage
I
is...
feel shitty.
What stage is that coming out of the blackout?
4.
3. No, 3.
3 is coming out of the blackout. 4 is like the excited, I'm back at party.
Do you like 4?
Yes.
Do you like 4?
Yeah, yeah.
That was my question.
It's 4 is like not a thing that is easily.
No. It's
Usually you
it's not
bitch
even-
out at 3. Usually
and
at
honestly-
3 I'm like,
It's fucking super easy to do.
And to me, a big thing about 3 is like when you come back online. If as weird as that is to describe, it's like if you come back and it's like you're already on the down spike and you already are starting to feel hungover, and you're like back. It's like, oh god. But like sometimes you come back and it's like you haven't dipped into that hangover yet, and you're just kind of like you don't feel drunk, and you're like, man, like I'm good. Like I'm okay right now.
yeah. I know what you mean. Like it's.
Yeah. Anyways, it's about that time.
Thank you very much for watching this edition of the 12th podcast of
That
Christmas.
was number 8. This is number 8, was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the 8th edition.
Of the 12.
Oh, 8th edition.
12
Yes, this is 12th episode.
Man, the fucking idea.
Season 8.
Thanks for watching. Check you later.